Alright, against the odds time, playing some Sigarda's Aid in Modern. And we'll play first. Okay. Interesting. No Sigarda's Aid. And lots of artifacts. Well, planes go. Island for our opponent and Curse Catcher. Well, it's Inkmoth and Mortar Pod. And pass the turn. Aboro. And Lord of Atlantis. Alright, let's kill the Curse Catcher. Oh, we're short white mana. Alright, land and Darksteel Mirror. Pass the turn. Mutavault for our opponent. And Reishery. Opponent passes. Helm of Caldera. Well, I guess we just sort of body in mind. Wish we had another white source for this pure steel. And pass the turn. Opponent plays an island. And Harbinger of Tides. Taps down Darksteel Mirror. Okay. And that lets our opponent bounce it. Combo. Janky combo, but combo. Well, it'd be nice if we drew a land for pure steel. That would make things slightly better. There's a plains, but we get to Pure Steel Paladin, activate Inkmoth, equip Inkmoth, attack with Inkmoth, mills our opponent, gets us a wolf. Not one of the better swords. Equip Pure Steel, pass the turn. If we had drawn those lands earlier, we might have had a shot. Opponent has a Reishery, and I think this means we're dead. I'm going to untap a land. Does pump up the team. Oh, goodness. And that means we're dead, unfortunately. Well, our opponent kind of had the nuts. They just drew a million lords, which was fortunate. Well, we get Path to Exile. Probably go down Pariah Shield, and maybe the Cauldra package, I guess? And try it like that. Alright, we get to play first, and we get to mulligan. Oh my goodness. So bad. I guess we're going to 5. Alright, there we go. Sword to the bottom. Planes go. So the odds of us winning this are not very good. They would start with us drawing a plains here. Oh, there's the plains. Alright, so pure steel. And now they require our opponent to not draw a dismember. Or have a dismember. Pass the turn. File ticks up to 1. Opponent. If they have a dismember, I think we just scoop. Opponent passes. Well, we Flayer Husk. Draw a card, get a 1/1. And Flayer Husk. Draw a card, get a 1/1. Play the land. I guess we might as well attack with our Pure Steel. And opponent Vapor Snags it. Alright, pass the turn. Vapor Snake isn't dismember, so it's not that bad. Spreading Seas on our plains. Draws our opponent a card. Opponent passes. Oh, that's good. Pure Steel Paladin. Plains. Swiftfoot Boots draws us a card. Now we just need big equipment. Sigarda's Aid. Would have been sweeter a while ago. Let's equip, and attack. With both. Opponent vials in a Harbinger of Tides. Okay. Now we might as well equip. Pass the turn. Sigarda's Aid would have been better before we played all of our equipment. Has a Lord of Atlantis. And gets in for 3. We could use a sword. Sword would probably be our best draw. Alright, well, Mask of Memory. Draws a card. Equip Pure Steel. Go attacking. Opponent takes it. Mass triggers, we get to draw 2 and then discard 1. Well, unfortunately, I think we just have to discard Sigarda's Aid here. Play Blink Moth and pass the turn, leave up our Path to Exiles. And we are going to Path Lord of Atlantis. Opponent Vapor Snags it. Alright, that's fine. Ether Vial takes up to 3. So they must have a Reishery in hand. Oh, they have a Kira? And then Lord of Atlantis. Alright. Opponent gets in for 6. Come on, good equipment. Mutavault for our opponent. Inkmoth Nexus. Alright, let's go attacking. Opponent takes it. So we get to draw and discard. Oh, Sword of War and Peace would have been better last turn. Are we just dead? I think. Alright, let's discard Path. Play a Pure Steel. Play an Ink Moth. Play Sword of War and Peace. Draw a couple cards. Land and Sigarda's Aid. Equip. Equip. Oh, there's the Sigarda's Aid. Pass the turn, but we're most likely dead to something. So close! We didn't draw any of our big equipment. And there's Mutavault. Alright. Alright, against the odds time. And no Sigarda's Aid. No anything, really. Blessing Mire cracks it. Stomping Grounds, untapped, and Experiment 1. Well, land, go. I think we can wait one more turn, see if we draw Sigarda's Aid, Pure Steel. Windswept Heath cracks it. Goblin Guide pumps up Experiment 1. And Goblin Guide. That's not good. We get a land. And holy lands. Alright, we get 2 lands off our deck, drop to 14. Draw another land. Well, Ink Moth, Flare Husk, get a 1/1. Pass the turn. That is an excessive amount of lands. Third Goblin Guide. Not only is that a lot of lands, but that's a pretty absurd draw for our opponent. Triple Goblin Guide. That's going to be most decks. Sort of Light and Shadow on top, and that does it. What a draw for our opponent. Well, we get a Life Staff, and we probably need Path to Exile, I guess. Go down World Slayer, Cauldra Equipments, and a Dark Steel Plate. Try it like that. Alright, we get to play first, and I mean, no Sigarda's Aid, but we have a couple of decent equipment. Flare Husk, go. Pass the turn. Wooded Foothills cracks it, gets his Stomping Grounds, and Nicodle. We get another plane, so Flare Husk, get another 1/1, play a plains, pass the turn. Vexing Devil, we'll just take 4. Dryad Arbor for our opponent, and passes. Kemba, eh? Well, let's Blink Moth, Kemba, pass the turn, see what our opponent can do. Opponent attacks with Nicodle. Well, let's double block. We're gonna equip up Kemba anyway, so might as well get some value from our germs. Destructive Revelry. Okay. There goes a Flare Husk. No cat this time. Flare Husk, our Kemba, Plains, and let's just pass the turn. One more land and we get Sword of Fire and Ice, which would be awesome. Alright, opponent attacks. We take our beats. Opponent cracks Wooded Foothills. Sacred Foundry untapped. Alright, let's just path the Nicodle. Opponent gets Forest. Vexing Devil. Alright, we'll let it live. And Stony Silence. Oh my god. Now we're kind of in trouble. Alright, let's pass the turn. Now we need Sigarda's Aid for the auto-equip mode. We do have 4 of them. Opponent goes attacking. We'll block. Experiment 1. Passes. Come on, Sigarda's Aid. Plains and pass. There's just not any point in casting this stuff till we find Sigarda's Aid. Opponent goes attacking. Well, let's keep chumping for now. Come on, Sigarda's Aid! Pry a shield. Alright, pass the turn. I guess like a Batter Skull would also be good. Alright, let's keep blocking. I really don't want to take too much damage or we could get burnt out. Alright, well there's Flare Husk. Not exciting, but it can double block with the cat to kill Vexing Devil, potentially. Another Experiment 1. Swings with everything. Alright, block, block. There's a Tarka's Command. Sigarda's Aid. One time. Another Plains, pass the turn. Well, we are not good at finding Sigarda's Aid. Or Pure Steel, which could draw us into it. Opponent swings with everything. Well, block, block. That's all we can do. They probably have multiple Hatarka's commands, and we're dead. Alright, well, no Sigarda's Aid for us. A bit disappointing. Alright, against the odds time, playing some Sigarda's Aid in Modern, Island, and Serum Visions for our opponent. Opponent passes. We do not get a Plains. Well, let's pass the turn, see if we draw Plains. Probe for our opponent. Steam Vents, untapped. And Thing in the Ice. Alright, Flayer Husk, go. Not a Plains for Pure Steel, unfortunately. Oh boy. Pyromancer's Ascension, Flooded Strand. Okay. Also not a Plains. Well, Mortar Pod, and pass the turn. Opponent cracks Flooded Strand. Lightning Bolts, our face gets a counter off Thing in the Ice. They are down to 2 cards, I guess is something. Scalding Tarn, and passes. Come on, Plains! Not a Plains. Mask of Memory, pass the turn. Lightning Helix gets another counter off Thing. Down to 1 card, though. Back up to 16, cracks the Scalding Tarn. We are not good at drawing Sigarda Aid. Not at all. There's a Plains. Alright, so Pure Steel Paladin, Flayer Husk. Opponent has another Lightning Helix. Okay, keeps getting worse. Now any spell flips Thing in the Ice, and they're pretty close to turning on Pyromancer's Ascension. I guess we pass the turn. Another Pyromancer's Ascension, and opponent passes. Well, we are going to fire up Ink Moth, equip up Mask of Memory, attack. We get to draw 2, discard 1. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We'll pitch Shield. We did not draw land. Oh, that was so bad. Scalding Tarn. Opponent passes. Alright, same plan. Ink Moth, equip. We're basically just trying to find lands at this point. Draw 2. Oh no! My goodness. Alright, discard Pariah Shield. Well, we've drawn a lot of cards without finding a 4th land. Oh my goodness, like 6 or 7. We have 23 in the deck too. I mean, not a ton, but it's not like we're uber skipping. I guess we discard our Mortipod? Well, at least our opponent is not able to flip their Thing in the Ice yet. Alright, the same plan, unfortunately. Are you for real? Oh my god! We've drawn 9 cards! 9 cards and haven't found a single land. Not one single land. Dark Steel Plate, Trailblazer's Boots, pass the turn. Our opponent's going to draw something. I mean, all they got to do is draw a spell. And there's a spell. Gitaxian Probe, flips Thing in the Ice, gets a counter on Pyromancer's Ascension. Probably wins our opponent the game. Opponent gets in, down to 7, plays a land. We still don't draw a land, of course. So now we play a Darksteel Mirror and hope that our opponent whiffs. Alright, well, our opponent's out of cards. If they draw all lands in a row, we're still technically alive at 1 life. And alright, that does it. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Alright, well, we want Leyline of Sanctity. Guess we go down the Kaldara equipments and a Darksteel Plate and try it like that. Alright, we get to play first. I guess this is somewhat more reasonable. Plains, go. Opponent keeps their opener. Gitaxian Probe. Land and passes. Well, Plains and Pure Steel Paladin. Pass the turn. Opponent cracks Flooded Strand. Steam Vents, tapped. Opponent has a Faithless Looting. Did they find a land? They discarded a land, so they must have a land. Sacred Foundry, untapped. And Path to Exile. Alright, we get a Plains. Well, let's Pure Steel Paladin, Inkmoth Nexus, and Mortar Pod. Get a Germ Token, draw a card. Ooh, Sword of Light and Shadow, sweet. Pass the turn. See what our opponent has. Batterskull seems like it should be good. Manamorphose. We are not very good at drawing Sigarda's Aid. That's also insane. We just never draw Sigarda's Aid. I guess that's variance, but... And going to Lightning Bolt, our Pure Steel Paladin. Flooded Strand. Well, let's Blink Moth. And Batterskull. And pass turn. Opponent cracks Flooded Strand. Hallowed Fountain, tapped. I don't know if you can keep a hand without any action, like our opponent did. There's Flashback Looting. Ooh, and Sickle Slicer. Well, Pure Steel Paladin. Blink Moth. Sword of Light and Shadow. Draw a card. Equip up the Germ. Ugh. Well, it's fine. I meant to equip up the Batter Skull Germ, but I guess that's fine in case they path the Batter Skull Germ. Get back Pure Steel. Go up to 27. Pass the turn. Opponent cracks their land. Well, they're going to have to essentially somehow win this turn. Thought Scours. Manamorphose draws a card. Lightning Bolt on Pure Steel. I think our opponent's still pretty dead, though, most likely. Well, Plains, let's just attack with both. Lightning Bolt. Alright, so our opponent's not dead yet. Drops to 2. Echoing Truth, our Germ. Alright, that's fine. So we just Pure Steel. Actually, let's do this the safe way. Open the armory. Get a Swiftfoot Boots. Swiftfoot Boots draws us a card. And then we just equip everything on Pure Steel. Still no Sigarda's Aid. 8-9. Haste. Hexproof. Pro Black White. Gain 3 life. Return a creature. Vigilance. Lifelink. And we can even sack it for a damage. Opponent helixes us down to 24. Visions from Beyond. Draws 3. Pretty sure all this stuff just doesn't matter. Well, looks like we might actually win a game. And our opponent scoops it up. Sweet. Alright, let's run it back. Oh, no. I think we got a mulligan. Oh, boy. Alright. World Slayer to the bottom. Flooded Strand for our opponent. And passes. We do not get a Plains. So, Plains go. Opponent cracks Flooded Strand. Or Steam Vents, tapped. Flooded Strand, cracks it. They have a 2-drop this time. Sacred Foundry untapped, down to 16. Oh, they don't. Manamorphose, okay. Oh, interesting. We draw a Nexus? Maybe this is just too many colorless lands. Pass the turn. We don't need much white, though. But it is frustrating when we can't play Pure Steel. Opponent has another Manamorphose to pump up the Pyromancer's Ascension. Polluted Delta. And passes. We get Leyline of Sanctity that we currently can't cast. Get in 4-1. Inkmoth. Sword of Fire and Ice. Pass the turn. Cracks Polluted Delta. Gets an island. Path to Exile on our token. Interesting. Well, we get a Plains. Opponent plays a Scalding Tarn. Cracks a Scalding Tarn. And Blood Moon. Well, Pure Steel Paladin. Inkmoth Nexus. Loxodon Warhammer, draw a card, and see if this is good enough. We get to equip everything up for 0, pro red, pro blue. Alright. 8-5, lifelink, pro red, blue, draw a card. And we even have a Sword of Body and Mind in our hand for, and our bonus scoops it up. Sweet. Well, we are horrible at drawing Sigarda's Aid, but we actually got a win. Thanks to Pure Steel Paladin jank. And our opponent's Blood Moon, locking them out of the game. Alright. Against odds time, Sigarda's Aid in Modern. Let's just Plains and go. Not really much point in playing Basilisk Scholar yet, when we could draw into a Pure Steel or something. Or a World Slayer. Yeah, let's just pass. Opponent on green. So it's just like a Stompy deck? It looks like Tusker. Well, Inkmoth, and let's Sickle Slicer. Pass the turn. Treetop Village for our opponent. And a Strangleroot Geist. Gets in 4-5. Alright. Down to 15. Trailblazers Boots. So Basilisk Collar. Equip up the Basilisk Collar to our Germ token. We're probably better off playing Falayer Husk and then just equipping to that. And pass the turn. No attacks. Rankers up the Tusker. Goes attacking. Well, we're taking a bunch of damage. But let's block and take a bunch. Aspect of the Hydra. Taking even more. Alright. I think that means we're dead then. 12 and 4 is 16. I mean, Aspect of the Hydra is their best card. And if they draw multiples, And our hand was pretty slow. We didn't really draw much of our good stuff. So, what do we want here? Probably our paths to exile. And go down Cauldra equipment and a dark steel plate and try it like that. We're on the play game 2, and this hand is pretty awesome. Sigarda's Aid, Pure Steel, and all the fun stuff that goes with it. So, Sigarda's Aid, go. Forest for our opponent. And passes. Well, Plains, Pure Steel Paladin. Pass the turn. Forest for our opponent. And Strangleroot. Gets in for 2. We draw a Path. Well, let's Flare Husk, draw a card. Not going to equip to Pure Steel here. Draw another Flare Husk. Then let's just Ink Moth and Mortar Pod. So I'm curious about this. If we do Pure Steel, Sigarda's Aid on Germ, so Living Weapon. Alright, so we could actually sack, kill, and then equip. That's a good thing to know. We're not going to do it, but no to Sigarda's Aid, draw with Pure Steel. Second Sigarda's Aid is rarely exciting. Well, let's get in with Pure Steel. And pass the turn. There's a Rancor. Alright, let's try to kill this thing. Aspect of the Hydra is going to keep it alive. So, we're going to take some damage. Down to 12. We draw Plains, so let's just Flare Husk, draw a card. No equip. Could use like a sword or something. Blink Moth, alright. Then let's equip for 0. Get in with our Pure Steel. Blink Moth, and pass the turn. There's a Tusker for our opponent. Goes attacking. Alright, let's block with our Germ Token. Opponent gets back the Rancor, gets back Strangleroot. Goes with Rancor. Alright, let's Path the Hydra. Finally get rid of that Rancor. So we want an equipment, or an open the armory to tutor for 1. Ooh, open the armory. Alright, well, now we're in business. I don't know what our business is, but probably a sword. Sword of Fire and Ice. Plains. Now, actually, we can equip for free. Equip for free. Attack with both of our creatures. This is the power of Sigarda's Aid. So we get to equip, or attack, see which one our opponent blocks, and then whichever one goes unblocked, we just flash in Sword of Fire and Ice. Or maybe our opponent blocks none of them. Alright, so there's the sword. Free equip to our Pure Steel. Draw a card. Ooh, Mask of Memory is not bad either. So shoot down Strangleroot, draw a card. And yeah, I guess we just pass. Opponent's going to need something pretty good here. Ooh. Alright, Creeping Corrosion is pretty good. Although, the fact that we get to Pure Steel into Mask of Memory, draw 2, equip to our not summoning sick Pure Steel for free. Then get in with our Pure Steel. Get the double loot from Mask of Memory. So draw 2, discard 1. We'll discard a duplicate Sigarda's Aid, play a Plains, and pass the turn. We can flash in Flare Husk whenever we want to. There's a Tusker. Alright, let's Flare Husk. Draw a couple cards. No equip this time. Ooh, sort of Feast and Famine. Worlds! World Slayer. Yes, yes. Oh, no. That's actually fine, because we have the Uber combo. So let's play Westville Abbey. Then we go attacking with all of our creatures. Oh, God, this is going to be hilarious. Attack with all of our creatures. See what goes unblocked. No! Oh, we're a mana short. Oh, we can't do it. So we can World Slayer, but we destroy all of our stuff? Opponent's going to block. Well, let's Dark Steel Plate on our Pure Steel. Draw a couple cards. Equip to the blocked Pure Steel. Plains and Swiftfoot Boots. And then Sword of Feast and Famine. Sigarda's aid is pretty sweet. I don't know if it's really good, but it is awesome to be able to attack and then just like flash in swords and equip to unblock creatures. And it's super awesome when it works with World Slayer. So equip to our unblocked Pure Steel. Draw a couple more cards. No! Unravel the Ether. Alright. Well, let's pass. Discard a Plains. Little does our opponent know, we're about to World Slayer them. With an indestructible Pure Steel Paladin. Oh, another Tusker. So maybe it won't work. Experiment one. Goes attacking. Alright. I don't think they can kill us here, though. Aspect of the Hydra would put us to 1. Yep. Alright, we're down to 1, but the joke's on our opponent because they're about to get World Slayered. Oh, so good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright. Well, let's swing with everything. Whatever one goes unblocked will flash in the World Slayer. Blocks. And blocks. Well, it's combo time. World Slayer. Oh, it's so awesome. It is just so sweet. Pure Steel Paladin draws us a couple more cards. We are going to destroy the world, or slay the world. Problem is, for our opponent, we get to keep a Pure Steel, play a Plains, play a Sigarda's Aid, pass the turn. Oh, World Slayer being so awesome. And our opponent scoops it up. Cannot beat the World Slayer. Alright, let's run it back. We can't keep this. We can't cast anything. Alright, this is sort of better. Plains to the bottom. I mean, at least we got a Pure Steel. That's something. Experiment one for our opponent. Well, Plains go. Treetop Village. Opponent gets in for 1. Down to 19. Well, Plains and Pure Steel Paladin. Pass the turn. Maybe I should have just used Mortipod to kill Experiment 1. That might have been better. Gets blown out by any pump spell, though. And Pure Steel draws us cards. There's a Strangle Root. Pumps up Experiment 1. Alright, we take 4. Down to 15. Well, since we drew Filleyer Husk, let's Ink Moth, Filleyer Husk, draw a card, get a 1/1 from Living Weapon, Prize Shield, and Mortar Pod, draw a card, and then we might as well get in with Pure Steel, since we're not going to block with it. And then ideally, next turn, we'll be able to start hitting with something good, either Warhammer or Sword of Body and Mind. Opponent goes on the attack. Block the Experiment 1. And snipe Strangle Root. Opponent Aspect of the Hydra to save it. Alright, so we're taking 5 here. Down to 10. Opponent has Feed the Clan to gain some life. Up to 28. Well, I think we need to Sword of Body and Mind. Draws us a card. And then equip for free to Pure Steel. Get in with Pure Steel. Mills a bunch of cards. Gets us a wolf. We'll play Blink Moth. Equip our wolf. Equip our germ. And pass the turn. Somehow, this deck, it should not be winning like it is. Alright, unravel the ether. I guess that's a start for our opponent. Takes down our sword. Opponent attacks with both. Well, we block and block. Everything dies. We get an Ink Moth. So let's play Ink Moth. Play a Loxodon Warhammer. Draw a card. Equip. 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 Attack with our Pure Steel. Go back up to 16. Play Sigarda's Aid. And pass the turn. Opponent goes to attacks and passes. Alright. Ooh, path A. Well, let's just attack. See what our opponent has, if anything. Blocks. Vines of the Vastwood. Alright, so let's cast Sword of Light and Shadow. Equip it up with Sigarda's Aid. Alright. So that means we got a path. They have another Vines they use on our Pure Steel, so we can't equip up the sword. But we get to draw a card. Another Plains. So we get in for 6. Plains, Pure Steel number 2. And equip, 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 and pass. Forest for our opponent. Leatherback Bailoff, pretty big. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Can we just win with Infect, I think? So activate Ink Moth. Play Sickle Slicer. Draw a card. Or 2 cards, actually. Basilisk Collar and Ink Moth. And then we equip, 6 power, equip, 7, 8 power. We're going to get the one-shot Infect kill. Get in for 9 with Ink Moth. So opponent goes up to 9 Infect. We gain a bunch of life. Then sack. For the last Infect damage and the win. And that does it. Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one. Sweet. Alright, against the odds. Sigarda's Aid in Modern. And this hand doesn't do anything, so we're going to mulligan. See if we can draw into Sigarda's Aid. Nope, it's a Plains. Well, Flayer's Husk, go. Flooded Strand for our opponent. Oh, we did it, and it's going to get countered. Well, let's get in for 1. Whoa, it resolved! It's a Sigarda's Aid on the battlefield. Who would have thought? Godless Shrine tapped for our opponent. Alright, let's play the Plains. Attack. Mask of Memory. Really? Condemn? Condemn. Okay. So our opponent condemns our Flayer Husk token. Celestial Colonnade. And passes. Well, open the armory. Get a Mortar Pod. Plains. Mortar Pod. And pass the turn. Opponent goes with Detention Sphere. Mortar Pod. Well, let's ping our opponent for 1. Could use a creature. Well, there's an Ink Moth. Well, I think even though we can cast it with Flash, I think we should just main phase the Batter Skull while our opponent's tapped out because they could have counters. And pass the turn. Worst case, we can start going sneak attack damage with Ink Moth. Like attack, flash in sword, equipped to Ink Moth, something janky like that. Opponent cracks Flooded Strand. Gets a Prairie Stream. As long as they can't kill the Batter Skull, we can always blink the Batter Skull. We draw Plains. Alright, let's equip up the Mask. Go attacking. Opponent's going to Path. We'll let that go. Get a Plains. And I think we'll pass for now. Opponent finds land. Flooded Strand. Cracks it. Gets a Plains. Plays a Gideon. Pumps it up. Well, let's return Batter Skull to our hand. Cast Batter Skull. Play the Plains. Fire up Ink Moth. Hit the Gideon. And pass the turn. Another land for our opponent. Takes up Gideon. Supreme Verdict gets rid of our Batter Skull. Trailblazer's Boots. Well, let's fire up Ink Moth and just hit Gideon. And pass the turn. Plan on picking up our Batter Skull. We might run out Flayer Husk. Pure Steel would make it much more awesome, but takes up Gideon. Here comes Colonnade. Gets in 4/4. Alright, let's Flayer Husk. Pick up Batter Skull. Cast Batter Skull. equip it to the germ token, fire up Ink Moth, hit Gideon for 6. So we're kind of getting through the Gideon, also gaining 5. Interesting. They path the Ink Moth. I guess they figure they can deal with the Batterskull. Another Supreme Verdict. Going to attack with Gideon. Well, let's see what we draw. Alright, Blink Moth is good. Let's just pass the turn. Lingering Souls for our opponent. Pumps up Gideon. Does this mean they have a counter? Well, pick up Batterskull. Recast Batterskull. Well, let's fire up Blink Moth. Send both at Gideon. Block, block. Well, Flare Husk. Path our Blink Moth. Well, Helm of Caldera. Equip to Batterskull. Get a Plains. Flare Husk. Also equipped to Batterskull. Actually, let's not do that. We kind of want a creature left behind just in case. And pass the turn. Our opponent has had like a million wraths. Esper Charm. Flashes back Lingering Souls. Ticks up Gideon. Well, 1, 2. Trailblazer's Boots. Equipped to our Germ Token. Attack Gideon. Attack Gideon. Sword of Body and Mind. Equipped to our Germ Token. And we finally, we did it. We did it, boys and girls. And, alright. No, let's not Darksteel Mirror. Let's just pass. We don't really want to lose our Germ Token, or our Batterskull. We want to be able to bounce it. Supreme Verdict, okay. Man, Pure Steel would be insane. We get a Plains. Well, let's Darksteel Mirror. Equip up Helm. And Sword of Body and Mind. And Mask of Memory. And attack our opponent. It's actually working. I can't believe it. Oh my god. Combo. We did it. Oh my goodness. Plains, pass the turn. Oh my lord, we're so close to World Slayer on an indestructible mirror. Oh, how good would that be? Well, we're going for it. We're going to try it. Attack with both. World Slayer. Is this going to work? Equip it up. Yes, please. Oh my god, it's happening. No path. Come on, no path. Oh. Oh, so we want World Slayer to resolve first. What's our opponent doing? Oh, they're tapping out. We might as well do that too. So everything gets destroyed. We get back a Mortar Pod. We get to draw and discard. We'll pitch Batterskull. We get a token. Opponent has a Restoration Angel. Double Restoration Angel. Well, Ink Moth, Basilisk Collar. Pass the turn. Now we kind of want one more land. Opponent gets in with 1. Celestial Colonnade. Not a land. Alright, so we got to pass the turn. Gets in with a Resto. There's a land. So let's equip up our Germ. Kill the Resto. Get in with our Wolf. And pass the turn. Opponent gets a Ghost Quarter. And a Wall of Omens. Gets in with Resto. Well, let's just equip up Basilisk Collar. Attack with our Wolf. Opponent blocks. Pass the turn. Shambling Vent for our opponent. Gets in with Resto. There's a Pure Steel, but we're nowhere near casting it. Well, let's get in with our Wolf. Play a Mortar Pod. And pass the turn. Opponent's still getting in with Resto. Down to 16. And a Kitchen Finks. Oh, so much stuff we can't cast. Well, let's equip up our Germ Token. and pass the turn. Attacks with both. Alright, so we just block Kitchen Finks and then sack to kill the resto. And Lingering Souls. Ugh. Well, Basilisk Collar. Get in with our wolf. Opponent takes it down to 7. Another Kitchen Finks. Opponent goes attacking. We block. We are not very good at drawing lands. Let's equip up our wolf. Pass the turn. Another Wall of Omens for our opponent. Oh, geez. They only have 5 cards in their library. How the heck did that happen? Oh, we hit them with Sword of Body and Mind? I didn't even realize. There's a reasonable chance we just win by stalling out here now. It gets better if we draw a land, but... Opponent goes attacking, we block. Down to 12. There's a land. Now that's Sword of War and Peace. Pass the turn. Does our opponent have paths left? 1, 2, 3, and a 4. So Snapcaster is potentially a problem. They fail to find a land. If they can't path our Darksteel Mirror, opponent goes attacking. Well, we block. Drop to 7. Flashes back Lingering Souls. I think we get it. Ooh. 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 Alright. Well, Pure Seal Paladin. Equip up Sword and War and Peace. Equip up Mortipod. Equip. Attack with Darksteel Mirror. Woo! Woo! World Slayer number 2 is going to finish the deal. Pass the turn. Opponent puts us to 9. We untap, pass the turn. Opponent's down to 2 cards. Attacks with both. Puts us to 7. Well, we attack with Darksteel Mirror. Third time. Oh no! We almost lost because of that. Darksteel Mirror has no power. We drop to 3. Land, pass the turn. Oh my god. Whew. And that does it. 28 turns. 2 World Slayers. Sigarda's Aid. Oh my lord. What an insane game. Oh my goodness. Well, Sigarda's Aid, boys and girls. And that's only game 1. Whoo! Oh god. Game 2, blue-white control against Sigarda's Aid. I guess we keep no Sigarda's Aid, but we got some things, and even some stuff. Colonnade for our opponent. Ooh, Pure Seal Paladin Suite. Plains Goo. Watery Grave, untapped. And a Wall of Omens. Well, Plains, Pure Steel. Pass the turn. Opponent passes. Let's Ink Moth and just Helm of Cauldra. Opponent might path our Pure Steel. No. Alright. We get to draw a card. Blink Moth. And pass the turn. Shambling Vents. Ooh, there's Sigarda's Aid. Well, let's Sigarda's Aid. Blink Moth Nexus. Do some attacking. And Basilisk Collar with Flash. Alright, there's the negate. And pass the turn. Tap land for our opponent. Another Sigarda's Aid isn't super exciting. Let's open the armory. Probably a sword, maybe? War and Peace, I guess? Yeah, let's get War and Peace. Play a Plains. Play Sword of War and Peace. Equip for free. Draw a card. Another Ink Moth. Get in with Sword of War and Peace. Hit our opponent for 1,000,000 damage. Go up to 24. Pass the turn. Oh, it can kind of work. Supreme Verdict. Sure. So let's Blink Moth. Equip Sword of War and Peace. Hit our opponent down to 1. Play an Ink Moth and pass the turn. And that does it! Sigarda's Aid actually working somehow. Sweet! Alright! Alright, so wrap up time for Sigarda's Aid. And I have to say, Sigarda's Aid was way better than I could have ever imagined. Going into this, I was pretty skeptical that Sigarda's Aid was good or even really playable. But after playing with it, it does a lot more than I imagined. So my problem with Sigarda's Aid is I thought, you play it and it doesn't do anything unless you have something else. It doesn't really impact the board. But when it does do stuff, it does a ton of stuff. So it allows you to cheat on mana with the auto equip cost, which is actually super awesome. That's one of the best parts of Pure Steel Paladin, is that we can use it to cheat on equip costs, and now we kind of have 8 Pure Steel Paladins. I mean, not exactly the same, but another way to equip for free, which is super awesome. But the most powerful aspect of Sigarda's Aid is being able to get in hits with things like World Slayer when we never would be able to normally. So we just attack with everything, wait till after our opponent blocks, and then we can flash in a World Slayer, equip it to our unblocked creature, and win. Or on the other hand, our opponent blocks, thinks they have a good block, we can flash in a sword or something to pump up our creature, give it protection, kill our opponent's creature. So it lets us turn our equipment into both removal spells and make sure that they are actually getting their triggers and doing stuff, which is super insane. So overall, we went 6-6 in games. Reasonable, 50%, and we actually went 3-2 in matches, which was pretty impressive. So overall, the deck was way more impressive than I thought it was going to be. It was actually a ton of fun to play. That was maybe my biggest takeaway from Sigarda's Aid, is sure, it is better than I thought it was, but it is way more fun than I thought it was. There's just so many cool things and tricks you can do with the card. So overall, I'm pretty happy with it. We World Slayered people, we sorted people, we did all kinds of crazy things. We did not assemble Cauldra. We also didn't get the Prize Shield lock, but it was just really awesome all around. So I'm super happy with how it turned out and super surprised that it was actually somewhat functional, which is kind of hard for me to believe, but this actually did kind of work. So anyway, that's been our Against the Odds for this week. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon.